Hi, my name is Sophie Sparks, and I'm the Community Manager here at the Information Lab. Recently, I was lucky enough to talk to my colleague and Tableau Data Dev Ambassador, Andre de Vires, about his new project, the Tableau Embedded Analytics Playground. Now, this is a fantastic no coding required resource that lowers the barrier of entry for anyone wanting to get started embedding their Tableau dashboards in a website. I had so much fun playing with it, and it really helped me understand a little bit more about what you need to do to embed your website, your Tableau dashboard in your website. In this conversation, we also touch on Tableau's new connected apps feature and what's possible now with Tableau's API version 3. Also, please check out the links below for more Tableau embedding resources and ways to connect with Andre. Andre has a fantastic YouTube channel for all things Tableau Dev. So if you're interested in that, please do check out his YouTube channel and his website. And I hope you find this conversation and demo of the Tableau Embedded Analytics Playground as inspiring as I did. So let's get started. Hello, Andre. From me, good evening, and from you, a good afternoon. So I'm here today with my colleague, Andre de Vires. He is a solution engineer with me in the London office, and also a Tableau data dev who has an amazing YouTube channel. So if you are interested in this, I've put the links below. There should be a pop-up coming up. Please don't go check out his all of the videos he has on YouTube, because he sort of explains a lot of what we'll be going through today. But what we're looking at today is the Tableau Embedded Playground, which is Andre, what's the best way of describing this?
Yeah, so the Embedded Playground was created to help people learn more about embedded analytics and how they can use the embedding API from Tableau.
And with the latest release of Tableau, so 2022.1, they've updated the API to version 3 as well. So I'm guessing this is a big thing with the Embedded Playground, because it makes embedding much easier. And you've got some great videos out on that. So I've just got a few questions about the Embedded Playground, and then we'll, if it's okay, if you can sort of jump in and show us how it all works. I actually had a look at it a few days ago, and I have zero embedding skills. And it was amazing what I could do with like very, very little knowledge. So
yeah, of course. Let me jump in.
Yep.
So the Embedded Playground was, as I said, created for people who want to learn about the embedding API, but it should lower kind of the barrier to entry, because what I've done is I've built some integrations where you can, with a few clicks and a few form inputs, you can already generate the code that you need to create an embed of a Tableau dashboard or some Tableau sheets, for example. And for me, it was very much like when I started learning about embedded analytics with Tableau, and I jumped on kind of the learning curve. I found that the Tableau documentation is good, but it's very much focused on the developers and not on those that are new to this whole thing and these new APIs. So that's why I created something that they can immediately use and immediately see what changes they made, what kind of impact that has. So I try to lower the barrier and make it less technical. And as you said earlier, I have this YouTube page where I have loads of videos around, also around embedding API, but also other APIs in the Tableau ecosystem. But those are videos, and not everyone learns through watching videos. So I thought, let's have another medium through which people can learn.
No, that's fantastic. And it is very easy to generate sort of the embed code and get started. So why create the Embedded Playground now and not, let's say, a year ago?
Yes. So there are basically two reasons. The first one is that Tableau has literally just released version 3 of the embedding API, which uses what they call a web component, but more about that in a bit. But also the main thing is that we are now having a new way to authenticate. Because if you think about embedded analytics with Tableau, where a lot of our customers, they put their dashboards in custom created websites or portals. But you need to authenticate to those systems, normally where you put in a username or a password, or it's like single sign-on system. And the idea is that that whole experience should be seamless. So if they log into their custom portal, they are also automatically authenticated to Tableau. So it's that single sign-on experience. That's something that this new thing called connected apps will solve. Now, we've always been able to do that with Tableau Server, but now in version, 2021.4, I think? Yeah, one of those. Tableau Online can now also be used for these type of single sign-on projects. So we have more and more customers who are adopting Tableau Online, and with these connected apps, they will then be able to implement that authentication as well.
Nice. So you've mentioned the connected apps a few times, and that now this doesn't just work on Tableau Server; it also works on Tableau Online. One thing I think some people might be interested in is, would this also work with, let's say, Tableau Public, if you were trying to, as Tableau Public is a instance of Tableau Server and online. So is this something that you could even try if you don't have a use case, sort of a business use case? You could begin to try it yourself with Tableau Public. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the playground that I've created is for all three of them. So Tableau Online, Server, and also Public. Now for Tableau Public, as we know, there's no authentication, right? So connected apps wouldn't work with Tableau Public. They would only work with Tableau Online and Tableau Server. But you can still use Tableau Public in the playground. It will generate the code for you. It's an easy way to learn about it. Actually, at the data school, we quite often do kind of some training sessions around this as well. So we then use Tableau Public as the tool to learn how to embed, because the actual implementation of authentication via connected apps just really depends on what authentication method the customer or the user of the portal wants to do. So that's why we're using Tableau Public as kind of the easiest way.
Cool. So if somebody wanted to get started, probably the easiest way would be to use Tableau Public, and then learn sort of more about connected apps, which you've just mentioned, and I'll ask you about those in just a second. And then bring this into their sort of their workplace, or their instance of Tableau Online. So you've mentioned connected apps a few times. What exactly are they?
Yeah, so connected apps allow you to set up what they call a trusted relationship between, on the one hand, Tableau Online and Tableau Server, and on the other hand, your web application. So the trusted connection means that if someone requests a dashboard or something from Tableau in that web page, then there's communication between the two. So what often happens is that you send the email address or the way someone is identified on the Tableau server or online site. If the online site recognizes that user, it will then send a particular token back, and then the dashboard will render on the page without you having to log in. So it's all around creating this kind of seamless login experience, so the single sign-on experience. Now, this whole process of authenticating is by using what they call JWTs, JOT tokens, JSON Web Tokens. We'll have a look in a bit where we can find those secrets in Tableau Online. But there's mainly three elements to connected apps. So it's those secrets, and which we will look at. Then you can also now, and that is new in connected apps, is define kind of the scope of the application. So traditionally, when you used trusted authentication with Tableau Server, you almost exposed the whole Tableau server to your web application. So what you always did is you added your IP address to the Tableau server, and that IP address basically had access to the whole Tableau server, including all sites, including all projects, etc. So now with this new kind of limited scope, you can actually say, hey, it's only for this project or for this particular site. So you can really limit what the application has access to. So that's number two, that's the access level. And now the third element is the what we call the domain allow list. So what that means is that if you, for example, have an embedded analytics project on your website, and your website is running on, say, example.com, that's your domain, right? Then you can say in Tableau, you say like, hey, actually only requests from this particular domain called example.com can request a dashboard. So that adds that extra layer of security around it. So yeah, it's those three things. It's the secrets that we have. We have the scope plus the domain allow list.
Sounds a lot more secure than I guess what was happening beforehand. Yeah. And hopefully that should would that help people be more confident that their embedded dashboard and application is secure? And do you reckon that would open the scope up of who might be interested in an embedded dashboard a lot more than it currently is?
Yeah, exactly. So the current or kind of the state before the latest release was that it's first Tableau Server kind of only that you use for embedding, which is now also Tableau Online. So lots of companies are on Tableau Online, but also you can get up and running a lot quicker now with connected apps because it's using kind of the web standards. So if you're familiar with like web standards and how JSON web tokens work, you can get up and running a lot faster. So that invites a lot more people to start looking at embedded analytics and the value that can bring to your customers, right? Because we work a lot with customers who then monetize their Tableau dashboards and the insights that they get from those. So it's definitely something that is now open to a lot more people.
That sounds fantastic and perfect timing, as you said, for the embedded playground. So this embedded playground, is it open? Is it available to everyone, or do you have to be a Tableau customer to use it?
No, it's completely open for anyone who wants to learn about Tableau and embedded analytics, is a Tableau customer or is not a Tableau customer. We'll look in a bit at the website itself, but they can have a look at that, play around with it. As we said earlier, you can also use it with Tableau Public. So if you don't have a publicly facing Tableau server or online, well, online is always public, but the Tableau server, then you can also use Tableau Public to play around with it. So yeah, that's good.
Great. And are there any limitations version-wise for that? I'm guessing when connected apps came out.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to be on Tableau Online 21.4 and on Tableau Server 22.1. And Tableau Public is, of course, already on the latest version. So that should always work. In order to generate those tokens, so if you want to test how connected apps work, you need to be at least a site admin to do that. So only site admins will be able to configure those.
Oh, brilliant. Should we have a look? Can you give us a demo?
Let's take a look. Let me share my screen. So first of all, this is the Tableau Embedded Playground. I'm just gonna zoom in here. And this can be found, and we'll put this link in the description as well. The YouTube video is at playground.theinformationlab.io. And it has a little bit of a kind of a description of what it is that we're looking at, but it's mainly for testing out Tableau dashboards with connected apps. But also it allows you to learn things about how to set different properties on the dashboards that you embed. Plus it gives you an instant preview of your dashboard, plus the actual code behind it in order to do it. As we said, connected apps is a new way to implement this. So let's have a look at this together. So if I click on Get Started, what I have done is that by default, I'm loading a dashboard from Tableau Public. So it's loading from my own Tableau Public, but of course we can update that. And what we then have is on the left-hand side, we see all of these configuration options. Also, just a note is that if you get stuck, the bottom right has a link to a video, so we can see, so you can have a look again at how to use this interactive playground. Now, also some information here around, hey, this can only be used with Tableau Server and Online for connected apps. So if we would configure that, that's not possible, but we'll see that in a bit. But here we can see the dashboard configuration. So as you can see, I'm bringing in a dashboard from Tableau Public. What we can typically do is we can set the device type. So we can make it, say, a mobile layout or a tablet layout if you have created those. And then we see the results of this embedded then in the middle of the screen. So where it says Tableau Dashboard, and we can toggle to the HTML output as well. So what that means is that you can start making changes on the left-hand side, and they will be then updated here in the middle. Now, what we see here, this is a basic HTML page. And in here we have it, first of all, on line 9 here, we're loading the Tableau JavaScript API file. So that's the file that you always need when you do embedded analytics. I'm loading version 3.1, which is, as of time of recording, the latest version. And then we have the actual Tableau Viz component. So this is where you add the properties. Now, as I said earlier, I want to lower the barrier to entry as much as possible. So if we click on the Viz options, we can then see if we want to, for example, set the width not to 1,000, but say to 800, we can see it immediately updates your code as well. So if you made those changes on the left, they will be reflected on the right. Now, we are using Tableau public here. So if I would say hide the toolbar, we can see the toolbar is now should be hidden, but by default Tableau public, and this is just some, I think, some kind of security. You can see at the bottom, it still has that thing at the bottom. But we'll see with Tableau Online, of course, and Tableau Server, you can hide those, and it actually works when you render that. But now we can take a look at these JWT settings. So as I mentioned earlier, we first need to use Tableau Online or Tableau Server for this. I have grayed these out, so you won't be able to configure this. But where can we actually find these? Now, I will walk you through here, but if you click on these details here, you'll see that I have some more information as well. So as I mentioned, the key components, how you can create one. So that's where we need to go. So we need to go to Tableau Server or to Tableau Online. Also, we need to create and give our name an app, give our app a name. So let's do that. So I have Tableau Online open here. And I am using my free Tableau Online development site, which I get with the Tableau Developer Program. You can also get those. We'll put a link in the description on how to get a free Tableau Online site. And what I'll do is I'll show you how and where you can create these connected apps. So if I go to settings, we now have a new section here, which is called Connected Apps. If you don't see this, then you're either not a site admin or you're not on the latest version. So click on Connected Apps. And now we can see there's 2 connected apps here already. One I created myself and one that I've created for a colleague just for testing things out. And now I can say, hey, new connected app. So what it allows us to do is we can say, give this a name, so you can really specify where it's on, and let's call this demo. Then this is what I talked about, the scope. So you can say for all projects on this site, or you can limit it to only one project. So you could, for example, say, hey, let's limit this only to, say, my default project. And that way you can really secure and isolate certain areas of your Tableau Online site to that. This can also be great for if you want to have a development and production setup. So you have a project for development and a project for your production dashboards. You could then also, for example, specify a specific domain name. So if your development work happens at, say, dev.example.com, you would say dev here, and then you create another connected app for production. So you can really limit it to what you need. Okay, so yeah, once you click, let's just say all, I don't really mind, so we'll just hit create. And now we can see we have a connected app. It's disabled by default, so we'll see on the top here that it's disabled, but we need to generate a new secret in order to enable it. So there we go, and then we can say enable, so you can add another, there we go, so it's now enabled. And that way you get all of the ID field or the secrets that you need. So we have a secret ID, we have a secret value. Don't worry, I'll delete this after this YouTube video, so you won't be able to copy it. And we have the client ID here. So those are needed in order to set up a connected app connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back into my playground. Let's just make this a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to take a look and bring in a different URL. So I'm going to bring in a dashboard from my Tableau Online site. And that is, as you can see, it's now coming from Tableau Online. We see, hey, we need to log in. So this is not a single sign-on experience, but we can see the HTML output. And what I've now also added as of this morning is a server output. So that allows you to see what code you need to write on your server in order to make connected apps work. So the code itself is fairly minimal. So there's not much going on here, but it really tells you how to configure your payload and how to get the actual token. So we'll take a look at that as well in a bit again. But now we have the Tableau dashboard. Just going to set the width back to 1000. And now we put in the details. So the username, because I'm using Tableau Tableau Online, is my email address. Then I need the client ID, which I'm grabbing now as well. And I need the secret ID. And I need the secret value, which I'm just all grabbing from my other screen, which I'm not sharing. And then if I hit generate embed, and there we go. Now we have embedded this Tableau dashboard. The secrets have been, I grabbed them from the other screen, but they've now been added. You can now see it doesn't ask for authentication, doesn't ask for login anymore. Also, what we see is if I now, for example, go to the options and I say I want to hide the toolbar, you can see it refreshes the actual dashboard, and we can see the toolbar has been hidden. We can, as I said earlier, we can set the height and the width. So if I set the width to say 500, what we'll see is that it makes it smaller, but not the whole visualization is there. So let's change it to say a mobile version. And now we can see we have a mobile version of this particular dashboard. Plus, if I now go to the HTML output, we can see that now also, besides the other properties that we have updated, we now have a token as well. So the token, the JWT token, you need to add here. And you can generate those by having a look at my server code. And in this server code, I'm actually putting in the actual client IDs and the client secrets that we have. Plus, it has the username. So you can see here, I have the username of the user who's looking at this. So that way you can now incorporate this into your own project, see how it works.
Thank you so much, Andre. It's absolutely fascinating. And I love how one click and you get the mobile view of it as well, which I can imagine for many people embedding the Tableau Online, that's probably what they want, because lots of people will access, I'm guessing lots of people will access their embedded dashboards on mobile devices as well.
Yes, yeah, that's a very big use case as well. Yeah.
And you don't have to sign in separately if that's not how it's configured. That makes life so much easier.
Yeah,
that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And you said you added the that extra tab, which was the server tab. So you've just added this. So is the Embedded Playground still a bit of a work in progress? And will you continue to add and update as new things come out with the API through Tableau?
Yeah, exactly. So it's all me building this. So it's also depends a little bit on how much time I have. But yeah, I'll keep on adding new things. So the embedding API version 3 was actually almost a complete rewrite version 2. So that means that Tableau is slowly adding new features, but they can actually, by actually starting from scratch, they can add more features a lot quicker because they don't have the legacy code that they need to work with. So over time, when new features will be added, I'll update, for example, the properties that you can update. Soon we have things around web authoring as well. So you can embed like web edit mode a lot easier, plus ask data and metrics are also being able to embed those. So we'll add those to the playground as well over time.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for building such a great resource for the community in your spare time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's really great to play around with this, and this actually forced me as well to learn about how to use the API now. So it was a good learning opportunity for myself too.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Andre, for sharing this with us and giving us your time today. All the links to the playground, your website, and where people can find more information that you've mentioned about will be in the description below this video. And if anyone has any questions for you, it's the best place to drop them either in the comments to this video or to reach out to you through LinkedIn or add some notes to the GitHub page or anything like that. So
Yeah,
lots
exactly.
of different ways they can contact you.
Yeah, they can always contact me. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Andre. And would love to see how other people are going to use the embedded playground.
Yeah, me too. Please send as much feedback as you have to me. As Sophie was just saying, fire over a message on LinkedIn or Twitter or GitHub, and I'll get back to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for giving me your time, Andre.
Cool, no worries.